Oh, Gemini Dees, if you think the season ended just because the confetti hit the floor, you better buckle up. What is happening behind the scenes in Seattle right now is a high-level chess match that absolutely nobody saw coming. Fate decided to smile on Lumen Field in a way that shut up the entire country, and I have got the details that are going to shift your whole perspective on the future of this dynasty. Are you ready to see how the impossible became reality and find out who the new pillars of this era are? What I am revealing today separates the casuals from the real ones. You are not going to believe what we have on deck. So grab a seat, smash that like button, and let's get right into it. Also, we are pushing for 1,000 subscribers to show the world the power of the 12th man. So hit that sub button right now. Remember that deafening silence from the experts when the 2025 season kicked off? Yeah, the whole world was betting on us being the basement dwellers of the NFC West. They said our roster was a patchwork quilt, that the post-Pete Carroll era was going to be a train wreck, and that a last-place finish was our destiny. But what those armchair gurus forgot is that the Seattle Seahawks do not play based on computer projections. We play with heart and a strategy that borders on surgical perfection. For our 50th anniversary season, instead of getting stuck watching highlight reels from the past, we decided to write the most improbable story in the modern NFL. Mike Macdonald's defense turned into a tactical nightmare, bringing back a level of physicality we haven't seen since the peak of the Legion of Boom. Meanwhile, the offense stopped trying to just be explosive and became efficient, controlling, and flat-out deadly. But the real checkmate came from moves that people called crazy at the time. Remember when we traded for Cooper Kupp? The critics lost their minds talking about age and injury history. The man just came back home to Washington and turned into the most reliable target in the league on third downs, acting as the perfect mentor for this young receiving core. And what about DeMarcus Lawrence? He left Dallas saying he wanted a ring and delivered an all-pro performance, leading a unit that finished number 1 in defensive DVOA. The impact was so massive that the rebuilding narrative evaporated in weeks. Seattle did not just compete, we owned the trenches. Watching D-Law terrorize opposing quarterbacks while Kupp moved the chains in the red zone was poetic justice for everyone who wrote us off. The irony is delicious because the same teams that called us transitional were the ones watching our defense shut the door on their playoff hopes from their couches. We proved that a franchise identity is worth more than any preseason power ranking. That last place prediction was just the fuel that lit the fire in the locker room and carried us straight to the top of the mountain. It showed that the Lombardi Trophy always had a spot reserved in Seattle. If you think that defensive turnaround was shocking, wait until you hear what went down with the most important position on the field, because what is coming next is even more wild. The redemption of Sam Darnold in Seattle is the kind of script Hollywood would turn down for being too unrealistic, but we watched every single pass happen with our own eyes. When John Schneider signed that 3-year, $100 million deal in March, the NFL world collectively laughed. The question was always the same. How can you trust a quarterback coming off a bizarre collapse at the end of 2024 with the Vikings? Nobody thought he would survive in a division with Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford. But the reality is that Darnold did not need to be a superhero. He just needed a system that would not let him implode under pressure. That is exactly what he found here, turning all that skepticism into one of the greatest career turnarounds in league history. The big key for 2025 was mental maturity. Darnold stopped forcing the hero ball and embraced being a point guard, taking the check downs and hitting those intermediate routes. Sure, we had some scares, like that 4-interception game against the Rams in Week 11 that almost sent us off the rails. But the response came in Week 16 with a legendary 16-point comeback in the fourth quarter against LA, proving he had ice in his veins. From that point on, Seattle did not lose another game. He protected the rock like his life depended on it and navigated a flawless playoff run, winning a Super Bowl before any of the other hyped-up quarterbacks from his draft class. If the Darnold era already felt like a dream, the news that just dropped about 2026 is going to have every Seahawks fan hyped. The team just confirmed Brian Fleury as our new offensive coordinator. If that name rings a bell, it is because Fleury was the tight ends and run game mastermind for the Niners when Darnold was there. During the presser at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, Fleury was glowing about our number 14. calling him a great human being and pointing out the massive trust they already have. This is pure strategic continuity. It means Darnold does not have to learn a new language in 2026. He gets a mentor who speaks his tongue, coming straight from that Kyle Shanahan tree to level up what already worked. With $15 million in guaranteed bonuses on the line if he stays on the roster, it is clear Seattle is doubling down on our champion. But while we are all buzzing about this master plan on offense, a controversy involving our star young talent during the Super Bowl festivities just took a tense turn. The glory of being a Super Bowl champ and taking home Offensive Player of the Year is the peak for any athlete, but for Jackson Smith-Njigba, that celebration came with a bitter side dish nobody asked for. The young phenom out of Ohio State found himself in the middle of a mess when the host of the awards, Drewski, decided to make a really tasteless joke. While announcing the winner, he intentionally butchered Jackson's last name to make it sound like a racial slur. The silence that followed and the immediate blowback on social media proved that the line of comedy was crossed in a cruel way on what should have been a night of pure celebration. What Drewski clearly did not get is that the name Smith-Njigba carries a deep history of resilience. Jackson takes massive pride in his Sierra Leonean roots, where his family emigrated from in the 70s, and he makes sure to rock that flag on his helmet every single game. Seeing a proud family legacy turned into a cheap joke for clout on a national stage was a total low blow. Recently, Drewski showed up on CBS Mornings trying to explain himself to Nate Burleson, claiming it all came from a good place and that he tried to call to apologize. But the truth is Jackson's phone never rang back. And honestly, who can blame him for the radio silence? The bond in this Seahawks locker room is on another level. As soon as it happened, guys like Uchenna Nwosu took to socials to back up their teammate, showing that in Seattle, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. That chemistry is what brought us the title, turning a group of underdogs into an unbreakable unit. While the comedian tries to scrub his image by saying not everything is a hit when you are chasing greatness, Jackson is responding with what he does best: silence and results on the field. He does not need empty apologies from someone who tried to steal his moment. He has the respect of the 12th man and a championship ring on his finger that is worth more than any viral clip. If anyone thinks this drama is going to rattle us, they are wrong, because what this team built goes way deeper than the gridiron. 12s. What we witnessed this season was proof that the Seattle spirit is unbreakable. We blew past mediocre predictions, saved careers that everyone gave up on, and guarded our culture against anyone trying to show disrespect. From McDonald's tactical genius to Darnold's historic comeback and Jackson's strength, we proved we are an elite unit. The road to 2026 has already started with smart moves and continuity, and we're going to keep that trophy right where it belongs. But now I want to hear from you. Who was the real MVP of this epic run? Drop a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe so we can hit that 1,000 mark. Go Hawks!